pretty much from when I started martial arts is when I knew I was going to have a career in it. I was like, naturally, I was just good at it, and that's what I craved and loved to do. Yeah, I just had a good feel for it. So I moved up the ranks really quickly and progressed in jiu-jitsu and competing in martial arts tournaments and all that. And it was more of a distant future that it was going to be like a career that was paying the bills type thing, but it was
Hmm.
something I was super passionate about. And then as MMA started to get, I kind of got in a little early when it wasn't very popular. And then as MMA started to explode, I had already been doing it for, 4 or 5 years. So I was
Yeah.
ahead of the curve. And then I realized that I can make a pretty good run for that, So fresh out of high school is when I really picked up. I had a few fights throughout high school. And then right when I was about 18, yeah, I had 5 fights that year. It was all amateur, five amateur fights for totaling 8 total. And then I jumped right into the pro scene. And I mean, it was like a hobby. I had to work a day job. I
Hmm.
was doing construction, working plumbing with my dad. Was still pursuing the goal, training and fighting, but at the early stages of a pro career and you're fighting locally, that's not paying the bills, so you're almost losing money per fight. So it was just kind of an investment, and I knew I was good enough. I knew I had the capability, and everything was lining up, and I just made it happen. And here we are now. I'm fought for Bellator, UFC, PFL.
Has anything changed from how you approach fighting now from your first fight?
The feeling in my first fight, I was my first amateur fight. I was 16, braces on, hair all puffy long. I think I was in 10th grade. I'm fighting in a church in my hometown. So the feeling of that, I can't remember quite the nerves of that. I mean, I thought I was getting into an amateur fight with headgear and shin pads and whatnot, but this was back in 2009. So amateur was just pro without getting paid. We had 3 minute rounds, but full MMA ground and pound. There was no modified rules like there is now.
Mm.
So I was obviously a little nervous.
Yeah.
Now how I look at these fights, it's what I've done my whole life. Really, it's when you
Mm.
back at how many fights and how long I've been doing this. And I mean, I think I've reached over 20 pro fights now and 10 amateurs, so
Mm.
pretty well 30 fights in total from every corner of the world. Saudi Arabia, Morocco, Australia, Brazil, the U.S., Canada, Thailand. So just the well-traveledness is just my life now. I couldn't
Mm.
imagine. There's a lot of people who have a lot more nerve-wracking things just day to day that I don't have to deal with. So mine is, if I got to go get into a fist fight in the cage, and that pays my bills, I'll do it. And it's something I've prepared my body for, and time and
Mm.
time again the last 10 years. Only way to handle it is to prepare for it is to do it.
Yeah.
So it's not something in the gym. Yeah, the gym rounds will help as much as they can, but ring time is huge, and adversity and dealing with certain things in the fight that you won't deal with unless you're there. So it's cage and experience goes a long way in this sport, and just even leading up to the fight, dialing down a weight cut, not having mishaps where you see some fighters who have under 10 fights who are even in the UFC, just they're early, that are sometimes they struggle on the scale, sometimes they
Mm.
make, sometimes they don't. And that shouldn't be a problem. That if you've made it, you should always be able to make it because the
Yeah.
recipe's there. But it's just the lack of discipline and knowing when to do this and thinking you can get away with eating this or missing this session or
Mm.
whatever. And so like I've made weight 30 something times, and I know the process, and that's just
Yeah.
training camp. I know how to funnel and prepare properly with given 6 weeks, 4 weeks, 3 weeks, 8 weeks. It doesn't matter. So I think even just getting to the fight experience is a huge factor of that.
Mm. How difficult is it being able to balance a elite professional fighter career and family life? How do you find it?
Tough, especially with the move. Like I born and raised in Surrey, British Columbia. That's
Mhm.
where my family is. That's where my wife's family is. She has a twin, and we're very family motivated.
Yeah.
I got a niece and a nephew on both sides, her side and my brother. So the family time is huge, and that's the hardest part about my career. I have to be out here.
Do you have any advice on how to keep that focus? Like, I'm thinking trash talks coming in and people trying to wind you up. How do you approach that?
Yeah, that's a hard one because it doesn't happen every time. You know, it's
Mm.
just per fight. And big thing is to me, I know it sounds so silly and stupid, but no matter what, at the end of the day, the exact same thing is going to happen. So it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if I called you this or you did this or this went wrong in the camp or travel, you missed your connecting flight or whatever. At the end of the day, you're in the cage with that person. It doesn't matter if, he's big for the division. You both weighed the same amount of weight 24 hours prior. So it just all comes down to your preparation for in the cage and nothing else. Your worries now, like for me, even I'm whatever 7 weeks out. If my worries now are gonna mean nothing when the cage doors close, So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
like just let it go and just when the cage doors close, being as present as possible.
And then outside of MMA, what do you do to relax? Like, do you have any other hobbies, or is MMA just all encompassing?
Yeah, I mean MMA is a pretty big chunk of it, but I like to, especially in camp, Netflix and video games. I like because recovery is huge. And that's something I've been really as I'm getting more into the sport and longer into the sport. It's just you have to focus on the recovery part of
Yeah.
things. Like when I was early 20s, I would train 3-4 hours in the morning, then I would go boot around, do whatever, hang out, whatever, go to bed late, wake up early, go train, but your body just doesn't really you don't perform the way you want to perform. So making sure I get to bed early. I like to hike. Me and my wife, we like to get out. We're outdoorsy,
Mm.
hiking and stuff like that. But then when I'm at home, when I'm in camp, I'm focusing on just relaxing and playing Call of Duty and Netflix and watching TV shows and walking my dogs, and that's about it. They're pretty
Yeah.
simple. Like I am an MMA nerd, man. I watch every MMA, and then now I'm getting into sports betting, like on MMA, because I
Yeah.
feel like I'm good at it. Because
Yeah.
I know so much about it. So I'm following every organization you can think of, and if it's a 145-pound fight, any corner of the world, I guarantee you, I can tell you about it. Like I just watch film. I watch fighters, especially guys at my weight, because even if I have no plans on fighting them, like the UFC featherweights division or PFL's featherweight division or UAE Warriors in Dubai, like 145-pound fights, I'll watch them just because I want to see what other guys are doing, how our division is. Like a lot of these guys are the future. I might see them in 2-3 years, or maybe that's what's going on over there. So I'm always watching any kind of featherweight fight. And then as for my opponents, I like to, especially in Bellator. When I signed to Bellator, I was scrolling through their website and seeing every featherweight that they have signed under contract. I'm watching them, see who they fought, tapologies, the
Yeah.
opponents they faced. It's like almost overwhelming a bit, but if you got time, why not? You sit there.
Yeah, it always feels like a killer division though. Like that
Yeah.
is one of the divisions where the strength of depth is
Well,
ridiculous.
I got signed right when they were doing their Grand Prix too. So like I had like the 16 guys to know who I was, and then I got signed when it was about halfway through. So yeah, I mean, and I've already fought, and now like the staples. You got the Henry Corrales, the Emmanuel Sanchez, Daniel Whitehills, Adam Borics, like all their longtime staples. You got to know about them, and then now they're signing Justin Gonzalez and all these young new guys. My teammate Kai Kamaka and
Mm.
whatever. Like, I'm just excited to Mads Burnell, another guy that trains with us. So there's like two different packs in the featherweight division right now, and I know lots about the half that I seem to be fighting now. So I just keep watching these footage, and any featherweight fight that's Bellator, I'll be tuned in.